Welcome back to Lifencyber. Today we're going to interview the last of our cast members, John J.T. Haskell. John, welcome. Let's get to it. Have you ever heard of the bookend concept? Like psychologically speaking, people always remember the first one and then the last one.
I prefer to be the man in the middle. I like to be the cream and the Oreo filling.
John, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Give us an idea of who John JT is.
I'm definitely the smartest one out of the group. Kenny would argue against that, but
No, I will
that's
not,
fine.
actually.
I am definitely the smartest one. No, I'm not really. Anyway, I came up alongside all of these wonderful fellows. That's the nice way. We have a group that our group is called A-Holes, just to let everyone know. So Shannon named it. So if anyone doesn't like that, it's his fault. But we all met at college, right? And so starting at a young age, I got into computers, knew that computers was the way I wanted to go. Ended up at CSU Pueblo just because I was that person who never applied for college and then at the last second go, shit, I need to go to college. So then I applied and started taking classes where I met Shannon first, sleeping in my class. I thought, man, I like that guy. Then he disappeared for a while and came back.
I was going to say, did you meet me if I was sleeping?
Probably not. If you were actually paying attention in class, we probably would have never have spoke.
John would have been like, dweeb.
Yeah, I don't like that guy. Nah.
Why did you always sit at the front of the classroom? I mean, you kind of seemed like an overachiever.
I did not sit at the front of the class. I sat near the back middle.
You sat really in the front memory. To the right next to a certain guy that shall remain named. But
right God. Yes, I remember now. Thank you. You're the one with the bad memory and you're reminding me. So anyway, went through college. Hated the end of college mainly because I was too smart for them. I'm just going to stick with that. Went to WGU, did a whole bunch of different jobs, did contracting for a long time, right? Did Dish Network for 14 years. Oh my God, too long. And then now I teach. I am now crafting the minds of the future IT personnel. It's scary. I should not be doing this.
John, how many degrees do you have at this point?
Too many.
Fair.
7,
that's a good response.
I guess the better question is why? Why do you love education so much?
I think it's something in our field is if you don't like learning, IT's probably not the field for you. I am definitely a perpetual learner. As you guys know, if I can't do something, I will go learn it. And next thing you know, I'll do it. Right. I like the struggle because I think it's kind of like my dopamine fix, right? Some people like other activities like adrenaline rush crap. Mine is like, oh crap, the program actually runs. Oh my God. I don't know how, but it runs. That's my dopamine fix.
I remember that actually.
I get very excited.
I'd be sitting there staring at like an empty notepad and being like, think. And John would be like, oh my God, that worked. And I'd be like, fuck you, man.
Yeah. I did tutor Java at CSU. That was fun.
All I had would public static void main string args. And he's like, I can't believe that worked. And I'm like, okay, he's done. John, give me your code.
He tried to cheat a lot. But I didn't let him cheat until he tricked me into doing his work for him.
I did not trick you.
Most of the time that was at work. Yes. He would pull the psychological card where he would be like, I bet you can't do this. And I was dumb enough to fall for it, and I would do it. And then later go, see, look, I did it. And he'd just start laughing because I did his job for him.
John, I have a bit of a selfish question for you. When you and I first met, it was in college, it was in class, and I was interested in finding a work study job, and I expressed that. And I ended up getting my first work study job at the help desk there because of you. And I remember that very distinctly. And I have my selfish question is, why? why me? What did you see in me in just a couple of weeks that was like, yeah, this guy would do great here?
Back then it was, I looked around and people that I like to hang out with and thought could do the job and wasn't going to cause me a lot of hell, I definitely would bring you on. Because back then, although I was working at the help desk as a work study student as well, I had to train everybody that came through the desk. So if you made my job easy, I'd love you to work at the help desk. And Dave, may he rest in peace. Dave was such a wonderful guy, our boss, and I didn't want to put any extra work on him either, right? He was just such a cool guy that he just wanted the help desk to run smoothly, and you did wonderful on that as well. So you earned it. I mean, you're still doing it. You're just at a different university now, just in a much bigger role.
Thanks.
Not help desk anymore, right?
What I wanted to highlight was, I think even at a young age, because you were what, like 19, you were able to see potential in people even at that age, and most people don't have the maturity to do that yet. So I just really wanted to call that out and highlight that, so that if people sit here and say, no, John isn't the smartest person in this room, yes, he is.
I'm not really. I just toot that horn a lot. I have a really good memory, and I think that's the problem, because the guy who shall not be named that I was sitting in class, and Shannon was sitting in the front right desk sleeping in that class with Nikolai teaching. I don't know, I'm able to read something, learn it once, and never have to read it again. That's just how I've always been. It was kind of funny. Earlier today, I went by the college. I'm on summer break at that college, but I went and picked up a server, and wife walks in the room, and she looks at my wall, and she goes, "You are such an overachiever." I was like, "Oh, thanks, wife," because it's covered in degrees and certifications. It's wallpaper. I'm not kidding. It's pretty full.
Now, you started with IT. Obviously, you were doing a lot of support like we were. But then you got into development. Why? Why dev?
I'm not just a developer. I think hardware is boring. It's just in my aspect.
Because you suck at it.
He says I suck at it. All right, sure. I think hardware is easy, to be honest.
I forgot the thermal paste.
Say what?
I forgot the thermal paste.
That was back in the day, man. He's pulling some really bad stories out. I broke so many SATA cables. I used to do so many stupid shit.
Well, this had a clip on it.
Yep. But really, that's really what turned into is hardware just became too easy, right? You go to job, you're a sysadmin, you're hoping a server will break. You're hoping you get budget to buy a new piece of hardware. Well, what do you do between all the time between then and 3 years when you get to replace that server? Well, I like the dev side. It kind of completes the circle. You can't have hardware without software. You can't have software without hardware. It goes together.
Why did you choose CSU?
As I told you, I spent the last second, and they were the only ones that were still accepting people.
So you didn't apply anywhere else? You just...
No, my mom really wanted me to back then, and she can attest to this. She kept telling me, you need to apply, you need to apply. I was more focused on making money during the summer than caring about my college, to the point that she said that she was going to apply for me if I didn't do it. And of course, I told her, well, then do it, because I don't want to. And so she's like, well, then I'm going to apply for the community college. And back then I thought community colleges were bad. And I probably would have gone to the community college if I look back at it now. But CSU was the only one still accepting. And it was CSU Pueblo, not CSU Fort Collins. CSU Fort Collins was like, nah, you're too late. And so CSU Pueblo let me walk in.
Well, Fort Collins was more expensive anyway, so...
It was, and it was too close to my family. I was still a 18, 19-year-old young know-it-all, and so I wanted to move away from the family. I think that college experience was something I was looking for.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So did you even come and look at CSU or the surrounding city before you decided to come down, or you just picked up your stuff and came down here and then you're like, oh shit, this place is boring?
I literally threw all my shit in my car and drove down there on the day in of moving day for the dorms. I have never, okay, as a kid, I used to live in Pueblo Chemical Depot, which is probably, I don't know, 10, 15 miles west of east of Pueblo, down by Alvin, I believe is this little tiny ass town over there. And so I'm not new to Pueblo at that time. I'm just new as of since I was like in third grade.
So
Yeah.
let's go back to that like third grade time frame. What
Uh-oh.
was it that got you interested in computers in the first place?
It wasn't in third grade. It was a little bit later, but it was when my parents went down to the PX because we were military and bought the first compact. And so they bought that compact, brought it home. I think it had Windows 95 on it or Windows 98. I can't remember. And not even a week into it, my dad come home and I had every piece of that computer taken apart and sitting on the kitchen table. You should have seen my dad, man. He was so red in the face. I think I've told this story before, but he was so red in the face, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "I'm going to leave, and when I come back, that shit better work."
Did
And
it?
so, yeah, it did, of course. I played a lot of StarCraft back in the day with IPX, SPX, everything like that. That was my way of going into it. But dial-up days, yeah, you know, AIM and ASL in chat rooms that you probably shouldn't have been in when you were that young, stuff like that.
IRC.
So,
I
knowing
did further with it.
your mom couldn't persuade you to go into chemistry?
I was really good at chemistry. I went through AP chemistry in high school and everything, and I really didn't like my chemistry teacher. I loved my physics teacher. If I did anything, it probably would have been physics related. But to be honest, computers is where it was at for me. Mainly because the rest of my family thought it was like this evil devil box who had no clue how it worked.
So that motivated you to be like, oh, I'm gonna go do it then.
Yeah, I loved it. And to be honest, I actually looked at it as I could see that it was a great career. You can make a lot of money doing not as much work as everybody else. I didn't want to do a labor job, right? Because I've seen other people in my family work labor jobs their whole lives, and their body was broken before they're age of 40 or 50 years old. And so I learned very at a young age. I was like, no, I've got to do something with the brain. I have to. And so computers interested me because it was that mystery thing, right? I don't know if you were that young as well. Could you, program out something and make it work? Could you figure out that, hey, if I pull the networking cable for the phone line for 2 seconds and plug it back in, I can skip the hallway of demons in EQ, right? And I could be at the other end and didn't have to fight them at all. That's what got me into it.
Shout out to Mama Haskell. She was one of the top people in her field.
Yeah, she ran a lot of petrochemical plants down in Texas there. She's a doctorate, and she taught actually at UCCS in Colorado Springs for a while before she went into the private sector, and she did a wonderful job at all that. It's very successful. When she was younger, she was a nurse and everything like that, but petrochemical is definitely the place where she's at. I would have to say, don't ever make her mad. She is the Walter White. She could make you disappear if she wanted to.
As long as you have the right container.
Oh, I'm pretty sure she can get the right supplies. I'm not worried about that.
I'm just the episode where Jesse didn't get the right container and
right.
put it in the bathtub that fell through.
Yeah, she told me exactly what they did wrong in that scene and how they actually picked the wrong chemical, and I was like, "Oh, great, thanks. Don't tell me this."
I'm her best son, if you know.
You really are. She likes you more than me for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm not there to give her lip back on a constant basis.
It's probably true.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hate that question. I used to ask that question in interviews, and I stopped asking that question because it's such a mean question. But honestly, I'm not sure. Either still teaching, because I really, really enjoy teaching, mainly because I get to play, right? It's very easy to teach, and I get to play with all the new stuff, and I can learn the new stuff and everything like that. Or, back in the private industry again, who knows? It depends if the right offer comes across my desk.
Okay. What about your personal life in 5 years?
Well, I thought we were moving somewhere. Shannon, you're going to get the other half of the duplex, and we're going to move somewhere. So
I
no,
just want a summer cabin to visit.
no. You're moving in.
Oh, okay.
I'm making breakfast. You're paying the bills.
Can we do hookah again?
No, I don't do hookah anymore. I'm sorry.
How old are you, Shannon?
In
Wait,
spirit
this isn't your
or
interview. Stop.
No. Shannis, tell us more.
Well, my wife
Okay, enough.
is
We're done with
going
you.
to
Moving
be
on.
older than me in 6 days.
Somebody mute him.
Yeah, we're done with it. Let's move on.
All I said is she's going to be older than me in 6 days.
No, eventually I'm gonna move somewhere warmer, and then I'll probably continue teaching because my brain moves 1,000,000,000 miles an hour, and if I freaking slow down at all, I go crazy. I literally go crazy, and so I have to stay busy. That's one of the things. I don't sleep much most of the time. I sleep maybe 4 hours a night. I've done that since college. To be honest, I did that before college. I think it was all like late hour gaming sessions in high school. But now I don't know. I can't stop, and so that's why you get random messages from me at 2 o'clock in the morning, even though you're all sleeping.
So
So
now
what do
that
you do to
you're
relax then if your mind's always moving?
I program.
used to be hookah.
Yeah. I like watching streamers. I watch a lot of streamers. That is my main form of entertainment. But most of the time, I still have a laptop on my lap and I'm programming something or I'm learning a new language. When I go out and about, I like to go hiking. I go camping a lot, but I'm sorry to say my laptop comes with me there as well. It's just the way I am.
So, John, I think you and I have a couple hobbies in common, right? So, when it comes to sometimes just making stuff in code, sometimes 3D printing, etc., is it
Mhm.
fair for me to pinpoint you as the creative type?
Very creative. Yes. And it's kind of funny. A lot of people say, if I don't know how to do something, give me 2 days and I'll tell you how to do it again. And I'll tell you how they did it wrong. It's just who I am. I have 3D printers. I've got model planes. I've got, any hobby that comes across my desk, I have it. I play instruments. I make candles. I don't care. I'll do anything. I've tried painting mini figurines. It doesn't keep my attention. It takes too long. I think the artistic side, like painting and stuff, is the one thing that I don't do, mainly because I can't sit still long enough to actually get that to work.
A couple months ago, it was bread, wasn't it? Anything bread?
Oh, I'm really good at
products?
bread. Yeah, I can do all breads now. I can do croissants. I can do biscuits. I can do sandwich bread.
Hit me with a
Pizza.
clean sourdough.
Sourdough is based all on your starter. If you have a good starter, you can go for it.
I need to go back to candles because candles is one of those things that every time I've learned about someone who's made candles, they're usually murderers or big creeps. And I don't see you as that, John.
John, how many people have you murdered?
Not on recording, guys. I'm not
Remember, it's the
I plead the
internet. You
fifth.
can't plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth. I don't know. I like making money. I'm an entrepreneur as well. And so the wife was like, hey, I'm making soaps. I'm like, well, I can make stuff too. And so I made candles. And it was kind of funny. We would go to these craft shows, right? And this was pre-COVID. We would go to these craft shows and I had it all worked out. Like I had everything worked out to the point where it's like, tell the wife, if you just get them to pick up a candle, they'll buy it. Like all I got to do is get them to pick it up, or I need to do this, or hey, everyone here's selling their shit for way too much money. If we can come in with a cheap product, they'll buy a shit ton from us and we'll make a bunch of money. And so I was able to make candles for like 40 cents a candle and I was selling them for $5 a piece. So making some money, man.
Nice.
Did you have any fun like money making schemes in college that you can share?
Work study. Yeah, that's what I did for college. I did not sell anything else. No.
If it helps, I took an idea from you and I installed a directional antenna from my apartment and I sold internet connectivity for $10 a month to a few of my neighbors to pay for my internet bill.
I forgot we did that.
So that was your idea. I took it from you.
I didn't pay for internet the whole way through college. No. Pringles cans worked really well to get an
They did.
omnidirectional antenna going. A lot of times back then, a lot of people would either have really bad encryption, like WEP, or no encryption at all on their Wi-Fi. And it was funny because we all did this. We would build devices to tie in like 4 neighbors' internet into a single pipe, and then we would use it. So we could, stream things that aren't streamable back then.
They didn't have YouTube at the time, but we did stuff. We like played video games and stuff. It was fine.
Yeah, it was all video games, and not any wire of the line at all. But
I mean, having an open network definitely helped.
It wasn't my internet.
And this is why we
have an open network. I don't know what you're talking about, Comcast.
So, John, tell me a little bit more about the personal life. How old were you when you first had kids? Because you've got a few now, yeah?
I was young, 21, I think. So
Too
I've got all
young.
teenagers now. Not too young. Hell and fuck no.
It ruined my fun.
It ruined his fun only because he didn't have kids yet. But yeah, I had kids young. I'll probably be 40 or 42 when they're all gone. So did that on purpose, though, just because I thought I would want to get that over with really fast so I can travel. Instead of traveling up front, I was already going to college. I couldn't travel. I was poor. So I had kids.
So where do you want to travel when they move out? What's the vacation list?
All over the place.
Do you have like a top 3?
I'd like to go back to Germany, maybe do some Japan. Will probably be number 2 on my list. And then Laura really wants to go back to Cambodia. So
don't trust the words that he teaches you in German.
Shannon used to say that all the time without even knowing what a freaking was. That was awesome.
He's like, it means hello. And I'm like, okay.
It was a pretty long phrase. You should have Googled that. I guess really it wasn't a thing back then. But
I thought I could trust people. Apparently, trust isn't a big trait in our relationship.
Shannon wasn't the only prankster. We all pranked back then. Don't let anyone lie about it.
I never pranked nobody.
Yeah, sure. No, I used to prank a lot of people. And then actually, I still remember my final project at WGU is when I was still in Pueblo, and I wardrobe all of Pueblo, and I mapped out the entire wireless networks in Pueblo. I did that as a capstone. It was awesome. I had so many bad looks of my car driving down the road with all these flashing lights on it. It was awesome.
When you say you mapped it out, did you automate that mapping, or how? Yep.
Full word drive mode.
Was it a diagram that was the final product? What did that look like?
I had 4 different machines, and back then it was MapQuest. And so basically I mapped out the entire city on MapQuest with all the coordinates. If it was open, if it was encryption, what type of encryption. And then back then there used to be websites that you could post all that information to.
By the way,
all that up.
MapQuest is still in business, and they're actually based out of Denver, Colorado, if you didn't know that.
I didn't know MapQuest was still a thing. Thought they would have got bought out by Bing or something stupid.
I don't know if they're like super appealing as a purchase anymore now that like Google Maps kind of took over.
Yeah.
So John, how many kids do you have? What do they are they doing anything along the same route that you did? Like, do you see like the same level of sleep, the same pattern of like I can't sit still kind of thing with your children?
Yeah, I have 3. My 2 boys are actually very creative in their own way. My youngest actually he's an artist. He can draw like better than I could ever dream of drawing. But he's more like game design. He likes designing games. And so it's funny. Both of my boys like to build video games. And my oldest won the state award last year for recreating Galaga from the ground up.
Wow.
And then my youngest is the one who did all the art for him on that. He wrote all the pixel art for him. So it was really cool. I have a feeling they're going to get into computers as well. Daughter, on the other hand, says she wants to be a baker, so who freaking knows?
Family indie game studio, let's go.
Let's go. I like
with
that.
fresh baked goods. All around.
Yeah. Get your dozen cookies with every purchase.
I'd be down.
I know, right? What geek wouldn't be? They're like, wait a minute. I get a dozen cookies? All right.
All right. So let's do some rapid fires. John made this quick. I think he did that on purpose, but it's all good.
Let's get this shit over with. Let's go.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
DC or Marvel?
DC.
PC or Mac?
PC. Mac is gross.
Revolting.
Favorite vacation spot?
Cancun.
Ooh. Not what I expected. I like it. Damn, we had others, didn't we? Oh, favorite streaming service?
YouTube.
I think that's it.
Star
I think
Trek.
that's it.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Star Wars, Star Trek. Sorry. I always forget
Jeez.
those because those are the ones I don't care about myself.
Josh is fired, everybody. He's just going to be the backdoor editor. We're going to lock him behind the door. No one ever gets to see him again.
We'll just plaster his face here and use AI to start asking questions.
Yeah, can we get your AI character going?
John, thank you. You're off the hot seat. And that completes our series of cast interviews.
Hold on, I've got a PS question. John, do you prefer John or JT, and why?
JT, there's too many fucking Johns out there.
So do you get mad when I call you John? Because I only know you as John.
I only go by JT now. I don't know who this John is that you're talking about anymore.
Shit.
Anyway, thank you guys, everybody. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.